Christmas, a time of year where all the families get together and kids are overjoyed with excitement of presents and Santa Claus. But for one young boy in this story that I'm about to tell, he never got any of those essential things that you would expect from Christmas. His father leaving when he was a baby and having nothing to do with him or his mother. It was just him and his mother. Just those two. Of course, with her being a single mother, she had to provide, and she worked 2 jobs. And, of course, with her working one job and then finishing and starting another job, she never really had time for him. Not even time to buy a Christmas tree and put decorations up or get any gifts. So Christmas was pretty much like a regular day for him. But he wanted it so bad. He would go to school and hear other children talk about what they got for Christmas and all the stuff that they did during the holiday season. Of course, he didn't really have any of that. During his free time, he would have to make things up. Having no television or radio, that's all he had to do. Escape in his imagination. And he was happy with that, not knowing any better. Pretending to be a pirate in one fantasy or an astronaut or an adventurer. He was always on his own quite a lot. His mother couldn't afford a sitter, so that's all he did. Of course, he had to keep this quiet, because if he'd have told anyone, then social services would have gotten involved, and he may have been taken away from his mother, and he didn't want that. So he was just on his own a lot of the time, providing food for himself, which would mainly be cheese, crackers, or even a sandwich, something that he can put together on his own. And then, one day, when his mother had finished work, she didn't stop for long, just made a change of clothes and a shower and went off to her next job, which would take her into the early hours of the morning, 3 a.m. So he was on his own for a lot of the nights too. That's when he heard something coming down the chimney. Now he thought, this time of the year there's only one person who could come down the chimney. Santa Claus. But what he saw come down the chimney was a hand. Just a hand, and the hand saying, "Hey, you like Christmas, don't you?" Being deep yet inviting, he was intrigued by this hand, saying that he can take him to a place called Christmas Land, where there is snow, there's sleigh bells, there's sledging, there's toys and presents. Basically the closest thing to the North Pole. Of course, being hungry for this, he wanted that, and was very tempted by the hand that was in the fireplace. He then said, the hand, of course, said, "Come, let me take you." Being tempted by this, he then took the hand and then was dragged up to the chimney, where he was taken by this malignant force. He landed in a safety net, where he was then taken to a land where it was all red. Bodies of naked, emotionless people were standing with no expression in their eyes, only for them to be closed, and watching in horror as he saw piles of dead children. Not only that, but children screaming in the distance. This was no Christmas land, but he looked in horror as he saw many other children get thrown into this pit. He then realized he had been thrown into this pit and had saw this titanic being, a muscular, white, humanoid-like creature, standing above him. And then he started to set things on fire. Below him, a fire was burning where there were all these dead children. He knew that he was put on top of a pile of dead children, what was left of them, their ash and their remains. He also looked up into the sky and found a galaxy, somewhat like a galaxy, and it was all just broken planets and stars burning out. Just in the far distance of that sky. That's when he saw this creature standing above him with empty, emotionless eyes, a mouth that was just a long line along the bottom of his face, and then a big nose. When he started to burn things, thick black smoke was coming from it, and he just breathed it in. The creature just breathing it all in, taking in the toxins. The more it breathed in, the stronger and more dark it became, with its big pale white torso appearing in and out the smoke. That's when the young boy ran for his life with other children, and that is when he saw, in the distance, buried below red snow, there were chimneys. And in these chimneys he saw children shooting out of them like bullets, landing in safety nets. Not wanting to take any chances, he looked behind him and said a little prayer for himself before going down one of these chimneys. Next thing, he found himself in the middle of a highway, in a road, miles away from his home, surrounded by police and paramedics getting taken into the hospital before passing out. He awoke a few days later in the hospital, where he saw his mum hugging him, relieved that he's okay. Asking where he went and what happened, not knowing what was going on. They say that he was found in the middle of the highway in a road where he was almost struck by a car, but that stopped in time, and he was then seen to by emergency services. Of course, he never told his story to anyone, but he believed to this very day that they are memories that no one should have to possess. But where did he go? What was that place he went to? Was it Christmas land? Or was it hell? Or was it an alternate plane of existence? To this day, he does not know.